Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and thanks for being here. This is the Gather community, and today we are featuring our Gather creator, expert extraordinaire, Kay Custis. Kay is a marketing expert, and I am super excited to share her and have her share her story and a little bit about what she does today as part of our Gather Creator Spotlight series. So Kay, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm so glad that you're part of our community. It's actually hasn't been going for that long. So we're still in like that honeymoon phase of yay, we're just starting. So super exciting. And I'm glad that you're here to tell everyone who's watching a little bit about you and how you got here and what you do for your clients.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I'm glad to be part of the Gather community.
So tell us a little bit. I know that when we met a few years ago, you weren't doing the work that you're doing now. So tell us a
Right.
little bit about how you got to creating Passion Roads Marketing.
So it actually began a few years ago. I used to be in corporate and medical device marketing. And 5 years ago, I decided, why can't I be doing this for myself instead of someone else? So I started Passion Rose Marketing back in 2015. And I had a few contracts with medical device and other regulated industries because I was used to working in a regulated industry. And that went on for a while. And then I had some issues with my health in 2017, and I decided to pivot my business. My health was in the toilet, and I changed my lifestyle, which changed my health. And at that point, I started healthy in my body to work alongside people to help them recognize their health, be aware, and do that in community. But lo and behold, in 2020, as we all know, COVID came along and we couldn't get together anymore in person. So I said, okay, what am I going to do now? So I thought, okay, what can I do? I can do marketing. I have a lot of experience in marketing. I could go back to that. And the other thing that I thought about was like, I really like helping people and serving people, and I always have. I kind of come by that naturally because my mom was that way also. So I decided, well, let's look at marketing. And I did a survey to find out what people really needed help with. And the things that rose to the top were social media, email marketing campaigns, and help managing the workshops. Because we're all on Zoom now, and we all need to, actually create a whole structure around doing our workshops.
Mhm.
So that's how Passion Rose came to be, and then was sort of resurrected this year.
Awesome. So, okay. So you said a few things that caught my ear, obviously. So you mentioned, so Healthy in My Body community, this is something that you guys were doing in-person activities on a regular basis. So, and then with COVID, obviously, when we can't do in-person activities anymore, I love that you went back to something that you knew how to serve people, right? If that's the primary goal, is to help people in whatever way resonates for them, in whatever way that you can best serve the people in your community, then that's great. I love that. I also want to touch on the specifics of with Passion Roads, the way you're looking at it now with online support for social media, the three you said, social media, email campaigns, so like funnels and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And workshop support. So tell me, like a typical client, how do they have you help them with those three things? Like what are you doing for them with social? What are you doing with them for email? Like if it's an example, and then what are you doing for workshop support?
Well, I like to think well, let me back up. So usually a client comes to me and they say, I want this or I want that. And it's like a bucket of something that they want. But I believe, and I'm teaching, that marketing is actually integration. It's about doing all those things together.
Mhm.
Like my workshop package, I have a 5-phase process, which is about prepare, promote, present, evaluate, and engage. And so we go through that process where at the beginning we're strategizing, figuring out what you want to do. What's the call to action? Is this going to be an interview? Is it going to be you speaking? Is it going to be a panel? So we figure all that out on the front end,
Mhm.
figure out what channels that you want to promote in. And then so we have the structure set up, and then we move on to the promote, which we actually do the nuts and bolts of creating the graphics and the messaging for promotion, and then where we're going to be promoting. Then we support you on the day that you do the presentation. So we help you with the administration of that. Then we evaluate, maybe do a survey or even a poll during the presentation, and then we follow up with more engagements with either email sequence or more social media on the
Awesome.
back end. So I encourage people a lot of times to do that because it encompasses all the pieces of online marketing. But sometimes people come and they need help with their social media. So again, we do the strategizing and create an editorial calendar up front, create the branded posts and messaging, and actually schedule for the posting. I don't do the engagement. I strongly feel like the client should be engaging with their audience.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, which I feel is really important, is the email marketing campaigns. And there's different kinds of campaigns. I've had clients come to me and they don't really have a list yet. So what am I supposed to do? I don't even have anybody to talk to. So then we do a lead magnet, which is you create this landing page to gather the information. And then, and so you ask them for, you have some kind of free digital piece that you give them. Maybe it's a list of something, maybe it's an article that you wrote, but just a simple free gift that you can give on the back end after they've given you the contact information. And that helps you. That's the digital piece is the magnet, and then the lead is actually gathering the information. So there's that. There's also, you might have a program or a product launch where we can do email sequences for that. Or maybe you just want to nurture what you already have, and like you have a newsletter that you're either doing or one that you want to start. So those are different things that I have available. But
Oh,
but also, I had a client come and she didn't really know what she wanted, and we just ended up tightening up her brand and then creating some templates for her social media platforms. And she was happy as a clam. And now she's using, we create the templates in Canva so that you can go in there and you can use the templates that are branded, and you put in a different image and different message for whenever you want to post.
yeah. So good. I mean, gosh, as an entrepreneur, you're like speaking my language of all the things that are needed for all the things that we, are trying to do. We're trying to grow our list. We're trying to have engagement online. We're trying to build influence. We're trying to share our expertise with workshops or different events, things like that. Oh my gosh, so many good things. Wow. All the things. Where should I go next? Like, I'm just so excited about all the things. Like, we need to talk offline about a couple of things that I think I need to. Okay. So where do you think people get, okay. In looking for support, I think that marketing is one of those areas where people often don't realize that the things that they're doing versus the things that you're doing and how that looks different. Like, why would someone want to hire you for the package or the work that you do versus like just trying to figure it out for themselves on Canva or whatever?
Well, I think there's two pieces to this, maybe more than that, but two that come to mind. A lot of times people don't want to spend money most of the tools that we use, they come at different levels of packages. There's always a free one, and then it ramps up from there. I usually choose the one like in the middle. I started using free when I first started, but the way that they structure those packages, there's really not much that they offer in there. Like MailChimp, there's no automation in the free one. So you can't even schedule an email in the free one, which is not very helpful. So my suggestion is like, you don't, you have to spend some money to do some marketing. The second thing is, the thing that's different is, it's always good to do things together. We're going to talk about community later on. This is a small piece of community. We as entrepreneurs, most of the time we're by ourselves when we're first starting. We don't have a team yet. So it's good to, I remember when I was working at corporate, a lot of times we would just get in a room and brainstorm. It's always good to have at least one other brain discussing things about what you want to do. And so that's one piece of it. Another piece of it is, I lost my train of thought. Another piece of it is, sometimes entrepreneurs just start and they don't think about where they want to go. They just think about the front end.
Short term.
So the short term. So originally my tagline was, we take your marketing challenges off your desk and put them on ours. But now I've included, from strategy to implementation, we take your marketing challenges off your desk and put them on ours. Because it is about strategy. On the front end, you want to figure out where I'm going to start, who do I want to address this to, and where am I going to go? And how am I going to say it so it resonates with my brand?
Yeah.
So I think that's a real different piece, because a lot of times when we're doing the workshop or either of those, social media, the email, or the workshop, we create a calendar of this is how this is going to go out. This is where we're going to promote it and when. So, and I think that makes it different than you just trying to do it on your own.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And, you know, the other things that come to my mind, which is kind of where I was when I first got started, or even up till a couple of years ago, is, you know, not everyone's a professional marketing person, right? Like and I come from a design background, so I like to think I'm kind of in that middle ground of knowing enough to be dangerous about design and stuff. But I don't know the psychology behind marketing the way that you do, right? The way that a marketing professional knows how to speak to an audience, as opposed to, you know, someone who is trying to, you know, sell a product or something like that. You know, the nuts and bolts about your product, and maybe, you know, what you've seen other people do, but we don't always know as entrepreneurs how to translate that into the message we're really trying to convey. And you can, you know, see that from an outside perspective and give that feedback, which is so,
you know, in corporate, I used to work a lot with salespeople, and whenever we were doing anything in a marketing room, you would say, okay, the salesperson wants to know what's in it for me. Why should I be selling this? And that's the same thing with the consumer of your product or program or whatever. What is my benefit? Why should I utilize your widget over somebody else's? What's in it for me? Yep. So you talk about the product and what it offers, what are the features, and then you talk about, well, this is why you should get it. This is the benefit to you.
Yep. And that's, I'll tell you something funny. That's a message that I've been hearing over and over for about 2 weeks, is don't forget about thinking about it from their perspective and what's in it for them.
Right.
So I love that, because it is something that, you know, if we're in the middle of serving our clients, we're not imagining that all the time. So that's a really, really valuable point of view. The other thing,
I'd like to add one more thing. So, The way I usually onboard a client is like we have a meeting, and what I want to do is I want to find out, about them and their company. So I have them tell them their story and what they're really passionate about their business and what are their challenges.
Mhm.
And then what do they think that they need? What do they want? And then out of that, of hearing the story, I'm able to kind of step back and assess the situation and say, here, this is what I think we really need to do to get your marketing going. I
Well,
think
because
it's
what I
really our
think that
secret
I
sauce.
need, what I think I need, and what you can see that I need may be two very different things.
Yeah, often it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, that's so good. And the other thing that I was thinking of too is, the idea that things cost money, right? You talked about the cost of the tool versus, you already having the tool. So we pay you instead of buying the tool and spending our time using this more expensive tool that we're not an expert at using. And what is that taking us away from? It's taking us away from talking with clients, talking with potential clients, being ourselves in our businesses and building influence with those people,
Hmm.
networking, like so many different things. When, how much time are we going to spend to create that lead magnet?
Hmm.
You're going to do it faster, and from a dollars per hour standpoint, it's going to be different, and it's going to be done by someone who's a professional at marketing as opposed to someone who just likes pink or whatever.
Hmm.
And yes, I like pink, but so that's me. But so there's so many different pieces to that, and so I love that. Okay, it's funny because this happened when we first talked about you joining the community too, right? I knew you mostly through Healthy in My Body, and kind of as an aside through the other larger community at large. But as soon as I hear you start talking about marketing, I mean, it's so obvious how much of an expert that you are, how much experience you have, and what you can bring to these clients. Like so much perspective and experience and knowledge and mastery. Like it's just so good. So I'm just so thrilled that you're here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so real quick with community, like I mentioned, we met in Katerina Rando's community a number of years ago. And what that allows us to do when we meet in a group of people is to just kind of stay in touch and be aware of each other in the world. And you've seen me and I've seen you, but this is really the first time we have to work together. So tell me, like, has that happened to you more than once elsewhere in the world of the business community here, like in the Bay Area or in the country?
About work, meeting
Like
together
meeting
and
people
network
from
in the
that,
work.
and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, we should be
Yeah.
working together, not just knowing each other.
Well, that's happening a lot now, but I would just like to say something about you, Tracy. So I think it was 2 years ago, maybe it was three, when we went to an event, and I think it was polka dots. And then
All right.
you and Katerina and I went to Gail's in Capitola, and we're talking about Gather. In this, that was just a few years ago, and it was an idea. It hadn't been birthed yet, and
Right.
now here you are. That I think that is so exciting. How you think about something and you want to make it happen, and then you make it happen. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much. And I mean, the reason why things like that happen in the world is because we have a vision of what is possible. And for those of us who are serving clients, right, it's different if you're in a job and you have a vision of where you want to be in this job and the work that you want to do. Like that's all great too for people who want to do that. My vision is more about how can I make an impact in my community and the people that I know, obviously in my family and all of that stuff. But, Gather was created because I wanted to be able to build community in an era that I felt was getting more and more disconnected. And that if we really focused on connecting with each other, that we would have more fulfilling lives, period. And so the idea of Gather being so many years ago, I wasn't planning on creating a space in a building where people would come. I just wanted to connect people and help them in any way that I can, but also so that they can get to know each other and help each other, right? Because it's all that
Yeah.
symbiotic relationships between all the different people. So, that's what we've brought here. And I think that's why I'm so excited about you being here, because you do that same thing, right? You're not only about this one client, but how can that client help their clients? It's those ripples in the pond thing, right? If you help an entrepreneur build their presence so that they can then impact those people, and then maybe those people are able to then impact their families and friends and communities. Like, that's how we change the world.
Yeah. I think community is wonderful, and I think we need it. We need a place to belong, and we have different circles of belonging. And we're, like you said, we're in a larger community, Katarina's community, and that and other networking situations I've been involved in through the years are really paying off now, because I've connected with people, and now I'm offering a service that people really need, and people are referring people to me, and then I have a client and they think I'm doing a good job for them, so they tell their friends. It's kind of, I'm going to date myself now. There used to be this commercial on TV. I think it was a shampoo commercial. It's like, you tell two friends and you tell two friends and you tell two friends.
Yep.
So it's wonderful to be in a community, because we really are there to help each other. And sometimes, like, I have like, there's one instance, I have two new clients that I didn't know before COVID. And one is doing a project. One has these, they're doing a project, and they want to get some real estate, and they were looking for a realtor. And I said, oh, I know someone that specializes in that area they're looking for, and I connected them. So that kind of stuff happens too. It might not even be that wasn't even about me.
Absolutely.
That was just about bringing people together.
Right. Yeah. And that's ultimately, like I said, as long as we can keep being in the community with that energy of, it's about helping them in whatever way that we can, whether it's in our business expertise or just in connecting people who can help each other. That's, like I said, that's how we change the world. It's awesome.
And especially now, we've got divisiveness going on in our country right now. The COVID is a strain on us. I was at the store yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. And I was just going down the aisle, and there was this lady and then a man in front of her, and the lady was trying to get something on the top shelf, and she wasn't tall enough. And then the gentleman was tall and he could reach it, so she called out to him, hey, can you help me and get that off the top shelf? And he didn't hear her, and he was going away. So I piped up and said it louder, and he heard me, and he turned around, and then he helped her. And she's thanked me. I said, yeah, we all need to help each other right now.
Yep.
We just need to help each other. And that's about community. We're helping each other.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you did that. As the tall person in the store, I'm always happy to help people get things off the top shelf. So I'm glad that you reached out to him to help her. That's great. Awesome. Great. Awesome. So this has been fabulous. I think that we're about at time to kind of wrap up, but let's talk really quick about anything that you have going on that you want to, obviously we're here in November 2020. It's Thanksgiving week, Gratitude Central. Do you have anything specifically like in December as we wrap up this year that you want to talk about, or just maybe share how people can reach out and find you and get to know you better?
Yeah, so I started speaking this last month, and I'm calling it Conquer Your Marketing Overwhelm. or conquering marketing overwhelm. So the one that we're going to do in December, we're going to talk about your 2021 calendar. And I want you to bring your 2021 calendar to the meeting. It's December 10th. And let's see, it's December 10th from 11:30 to 12:30. And that's on a Thursday. And then I think I'm going to have it again the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, great.
And because what, so what I was saying at the beginning, what I hear my clients say is that marketing takes too much time, or they don't have enough time, period. It doesn't matter if it's about marketing or not.
Right.
They need more time. But marketing, takes up their time. The other thing is about technology. And the last thing is they need marketing help and they don't know what it is. So the time factor is about being productive with your time and being able to see what's coming up. So what we're going to do with the calendar is do just that. Figure out, okay, what programs am I going to offer? What products am I going to launch? Whatever it might be. When in corporate, I used to do this a lot. So one company, we had this device and women usually used it, and it was indicated for osteoporosis. So there's an osteoporosis day and there's Mother's Day. So we did these big campaigns during that time of year. So we figured that out for your product. What are the big times of year? What's a good time to launch or really, create a campaign around? So you want to do that and put the big things on your calendar so it makes it easier later on.
Awesome.
So I hope you can join us. You can find me at passionroads.com. Whoops, sorry about that. So you can find me at passionroads.com. So
awesome. I love it. And I'm glad that you're going to do it. So this video is going to be on the newsletter that comes out on the 8th. So I'm glad you're doing it on the 10th. So it's short notice. So I'm glad that you're planning on doing it again, even though it's enough time for those of us who really it's not a lot of time to put on your calendar. If you've got that free, what time was it on the 10th?
It's at 11:30.
11:30. So lunch hour, right? Take an hour for yourself to learn how you can free up your own time to have Kay help you out with some marketing stuff. I love it. And I love the calendar aspect because as entrepreneurs, we are definitely looking at 2021. And if we're not looking at our calendar, we're missing out on really putting together a plan and a strategy for next year because it's so important. I feel behind the times myself and I kind of have mine half done. So I'll probably join you. And this is great. Any last thoughts or words before we close out for the day?
No, just thank you for this, and be safe, everybody out there, and be kind.
Thank you. I love it. It's a perfect way to end. Thank you, Kay. Loved having you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.